To have a strong and sturdy subfloor so you can install your porcelain tile or marble or any type of surface that you want to install, you want to make sure that the bottom or the structure itself is sturdy enough. And that was an issue over here with these 2x8x12s. They are too wobbly, they are too long, and they didn't have supports in the middle. So obviously when you install anything on top of them, these floors are going to be bouncing, and we want to avoid that stuff. Not only that, but if you're going to do it, you want to do it in a way that is compliant with building codes. And that's something that I want to show you here, because that will ensure you that if you're planning to sell the house or fix it to rent it or something, you're not going to have issues in the long run. So let's start by understanding that the floors normally will be like 16 on the center. Sometimes they're a little longer, and that's why the floors are going to start concaving in the middle. And for that, we want to make sure that we understand where we need the support. Normally, if you have this lens, the middle start concaving right in the middle, and you want to put some supports that are going to allow you to bring the floor up. With the years, especially houses, this one was built in the 50s. You start seeing that the wood starts stretching down, arching down, and you don't want that. So for that, we have this nice 4x6 beam. This one is pressure treated, and we also have some nice cinder blocks, the different size cinder blocks, and they're going to be the ones that are going to be supporting the load. Now, to comply with code, we are going to use this reinforcing stucco. Let's call it a stucco. This one is actually approved for dry stacking. Dry stacking is what we're doing over here. We are putting blocks on top of blocks without any type of mortar in the middle, and it's used for that purpose. So let's say if you're gonna sell the property, they're gonna ask you to dry stack or just do a coating on the outside of your blocks so they can actually be reinforced, and that's something that I'm going to guide you through so you can prepare those floors really well. This material has some fiberglass in the middle, so by having this fiberglass in the middle, you will be able to create a code outside that is going to provide the strength to maintain everything nice and strong. So the material is not going to, the blocks are not going to fall apart, or they're just not going to be able to shift. So just make some water, use some gloves, because obviously by having these fibers and having these materials, you can hurt your skin. You can have some discomfort with the fiberglass. So let's go ahead and start by understanding that we need to put some footings, and this footing will have to be dug out. I would say like about 14 by 18 by 12 or by 10. You're gonna pour some concrete there. You're gonna let it dry, and that's where you're gonna start your cinder blocks. So after we did that digging, we poured the concrete over there, waited 2 or 3 days, then we started stacking these blocks up. So now by understanding that part, that some of these beams are lower than others, and that's why you want to make sure that your 4x6 will go across the entire thing. This one is a 4x6x12, and I want to make sure that it supports as many beams as possible. So what happens sometimes is, like in this case, we had to sister one of the beams because it was rotted, and do some more work, and this is the chance for you to do all those repairs before you install your cinder blocks and your beam that goes across. So this one goes all the way across, and it holds almost all the beams except for the ones that are obviously sitting already on the perimeter structure and the foundation. Now you have the material already there, it's mixed already, you have your blocks nice and straight, you put all your shims. Now you want to start coating this, because the space is so short. We have about, I would say, like 26 inches there. It's better for you to use some gloves and rub it against the entire pier, then just use a grout applicator, like a squeegee, and then just kind of smooth this thing out. Normally I will do about 3/8 of an inch of thickness of this material. So you start with a little bit, the cinder block is going to absorb a little bit of the material, and then you continue by just adding a little bit more, letting it dry, and so on. So by the time that it dries completely, you will have about 3/8 all around of this material with the reinforcing fiberglass, and that helps a lot because now the pier itself is not going to collapse, it's not going to shift, and actually is required by code that you do it that way. So not only you are doing something that is going to be lasting for a long time, but it's actually something that is going to pass an inspection in case that you need to provide that, or like if you're planning to sell a property and they ask you to dry stack or to give a coating, this is what they're meaning. This is the type of coating that you're going to do. Now, remember that there are other things that are going to ask you for, is that obviously you don't want to pinch any type of wire with your column or with your beam across, or you don't want to pinch any type of plumbing, so those are things that are obvious, but the inspector will ask you for you to, besides giving that nice coating around the piers, they're going to ask you also to support any type of wire, and I'm going to show you how we do the stuff. So now, because we want to make sure that our beams are not going to move, we're going to use this 3-inch. Normally you can use a 3-inch or 3.5-inch long screw. These are exterior screws, and I'm going to go diagonally here, so that way all these beams are going to be on place. Sometimes they shift when they don't have those dividers in the middle, they shift, so it's a perfect time for you to secure that in the middle. And after that, you can actually install with some liquid nail or some construction adhesive and screws, you can install your 3/4 plywood. But it doesn't end there. It continues with the subscription of my channel, hit the little notification bell, and also to see what is next, because it's really important. Now that you have your plywood secure, you want to go ahead and start by sweeping with a sponge, with a damp sponge. You're going to sweep all the dust. You don't want to collect that dust for yourself. You're going to sweep it, and you're going to use this fairly creamy thin set mortar to secure your 1/4-inch concrete boards in this case. Sometimes you can use 1/2-inch if you want, depending on the level, but we're going to use some concrete boards that are 1/4-inch, and we're going to use these screws that are here that are really important to secure the entire thing, as is recommended by the manufacturer, because that's the important thing, that you want to do these projects in the way that is recommended, so you can have some guarantee on your work. So go ahead and install or apply in sections of like 3 feet, 36 inches. Go ahead and install it nicely, and go ahead and put all the screws. Make sure that you screw everything at every 6 inches. So there's going to be a lot of screwing over here on this material. And after that, you want to go ahead and put your fiberglass tape. It's really important to use this on the seams so you don't have cracks in the future, so the material stays nice and strong and you have an even and secure area. After that, what you see here are on these large format tiles are these little levelers, and these levelers, I have some other videos where I teach how to use them, but are really important because once you have them down, your floors are going to be completely straight, completely flat, and you're going to have a perfect finish. Go ahead and mix your grout with some acrylic instead of water, the acrylic additive. Use a grout applicator and let it dry a little bit, but I have a ton of videos right now that are going to teach you how to apply that stuff step by step.